7月下半，3伏夏日已至，联赛争夺也正式进入下半场白热化阶段。老牌队伍依然艰难前行，一切胜利的可能性都值得他们去放手一搏。强队质检期坐镇主场，欲再次上演以下课上的精彩戏码。银河战舰跌跌撞撞，夏天航线的终点究竟会是何方？老冤家京城再聚首，新政对决，谁的默契能笑到最后？撞墙恢复之路固然漫长，瓶颈突破之旅也更显艰辛。双王相争必有一败，谁将领跑常规赛铁王座的争夺？追逐不止，超越常在。LPL 的最大魅力莫过于此。
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again, our match of the week as we enter Beijing in RNG's home arena as EDG look to take them on here today and make a statement. A matchup with a lot of history, a lot of blood, and a lot of fueling coming into today. The end of week 7, we could not be happier as we look at the posters on the wall, and MLXG has joined the club. You will have seen the announcement that MLXG has officially retired, and he's on the wall alongside Zatai and other greats here as we welcome you back, Hysterics Raz, and good to see the respect there paid to MLXG.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about the RNG venue, is because you get to see that history. There's not a Hall of Fame just yet, but you have to see, you know, the jerseys essentially hung up on the walls. You get to see that, you know, the NBA and just most sports, really. So the fact that you get to see both Let Me, Zatai, and now MLXG, the wealth of history that we have just from those individuals in the LPL, I mean, you have to be able to pay respects.
And look, honestly, like MLXG was looking forward to seeing him again, but even better so that he can pursue and move forward. For this team, it's made greats. Uzi's still on it, Karsa's still on it, and looking forward to the future of RNG.
I mean, I remember when MLXG came into the league because he was alongside a lot of great members in Team King, right? Initially known as Lonely, and then he changed his name to MLXG. He was an incredibly impactful player, as he is still today. Off of like Jungle Fizz, Jungle Nidalee, and near the end of his career, when he was essentially winning out championships in 2018 like the rest of them, his Nocturne was insane.
It was that Game 5 Nocturne, you're like, here we go.
But like, he picked up Nocturne a lot, and he was incredibly impactful with the pick for his team. And so, I know it comes down to like Karsa versus MLXG, and they were the team that people around the globe, professional teams, organizations, and the fans themselves really looked to when they were talking about, you know, rotating rosters, like different style of junglers. Karsa being the far more, you know, strategic, by the books, being able to play it out so like all lanes essentially get that love, versus MLXG, who is just a spark, always looking for fights to be. He's unpredictable a lot of times, and it's so hard to be able to go up against that type of team and to predict like essentially what their strategy is until you see the roster. And so we won't get to see that. Sad. But a lot of love to MLXG, who's still a successful streamer.
Yeah, of course. Of course, we get to see the best of RNG still today, going up against EDG in our match of the week. Now, remember, this is our 2018 Spring Finals matchup. The finals where RNG went on to go to MSI and win the whole thing out.
We saw so many of these finals just between those two organizations. And so the last finals, as you had mentioned, that really started it for RNG. This was the first LPL championship that Uzi got. And then he went to MSI, got that championship at the MSI, and really started that golden road for RNG as a team. And it really was off the back of that rivalry between two organizations, two great organizations.
Well, like I said, a lot of blood between the two, and a bit of a tally going on there as well, Raz, since 2015 from memory, RNG and EDG going head-to-head.
Yeah, 2015 Summer Split is when RNG was formed, or essentially rejuvenated, reinvigorated, and it was 23-21. Essentially, EDG since that point has been incredibly strong, has been taking numerous wins versus the team. But then, of course, around 2017, RNG just simply got better. They got Mata into the roster.
Yep.
Uzi came back later on, and that team only got better and better while the struggles for EDG started. While it is so close in the game-to-game score, and you can say, oh, if EDG 2-0s, like they tie up since 2015 summer, the reality is the last 4 sets played was just a flat-out RNG victory.
Yeah, so they're on the win streak right now, and what makes this more exciting is the fact that we can delve even deeper. Outside of the team rivalry, within the team itself, there is some new blood on EDG that's looking to contest the jungler of RNG.
Yeah, because the story for both of these teams are very similar for the year. For this year, it was like both of them failed in playoffs in Spring Split.
Yes.
Both of them had their changes in roster. And then one of the biggest changes you already mentioned is the jungler of EDG and Jiejie going up against Karsa. Karsa, who no longer has someone in the back, peering over at him. LPL is retired, and in my eyes, Karsa is still the best jungler in the world. Just because we didn't get to see him play past the playoff point, didn't get to go to MSI like the rest of them. He was rivaling Karsa, Ming, that is, consistently. When Clid was in the league, he was better than him.
Yeah.
Karsa was just, in my eyes, the perfect jungler, and how he was able to consistently play out the early portions of the game, with the only problem when we saw him going up against JD.
Right.
That was an issue for me.
And the best part about this is the fact that they're performing to the limit. So with that in mind, Karsa can once again prove that to everyone watching.
Yeah, of course. And I just hope that there's no allure, the calls to come to bot lane.
Ah, yes.
So he doesn't take that extra camp, so he gets the experience lead that happened in the JD series that I was mentioning. And so I want to see what happens, because we mentioned the roster changes.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Jiejie. Jiejie and in the top lane, Jinoo coming out and working out so well for the team. And on the side of RNG, Langx has just been like a saving grace for the squad that started out the year with Amazing J and a lot of I'm not even going to say inconsistently, just consistently played poorly.
Yes.
And so the fact that Langx came in incredibly strong. This is fun to see, but we're going to be focusing on EDG. We talked about the roster. Jinoo in the top lane, Jiejie in the jungle, mid lane Scout, and in the bottom side of the map you have iBoy and Meiko.
I always love that we got Heart going up into RNG. It brings back some memories here, Raz.
And another thing too, for the 40 games we've seen since 2016, if we're just talking about who's been playing all of those games for both of these organizations, it's actually only Meiko and Xiaohu.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a moment in time when Uzi wasn't playing for RNG.
Yep.
We don't talk about those times, the OMG days.
Only positivity in the RNG arena here, Raz. And that's what the crowd's out here for, to welcome their home team in the top lane. Langx, Karsa in the jungle, Xiaohu in the mid lane, Uzi and Ming, your bottom lane.
And they're a team that has only gotten deeper into the idea of that play towards your AD carry. Play for that 5v5, scale up to your late portions of the game. Another addition, too, as you can see on stage with them, is Coach State.
Yeah.
Coming in from Rogue Warriors, he's already moving away. He's like, all right, guys, let's go. The introduction's already over. This is their venue, by the way, so everybody knows. So the fans, it sells out every damn game, no matter who goes up against RNG. If it's OMG, VG Gaming, people are here just to see RNG. It's a great venue in Mukasan, Beijing. And I mean, I went there once for one of our contents.
Oh, you
Able
did?
to cover it. It's beautiful.
Yep.
It has its own merchandising store, which is great. It has a lot of stuff in there. And then on top of that, the washrooms are decked out. But I hope this game's not going to be a washroom in and of itself. Just look at the RNG and EDG stats. Both teams have been incredibly active in the early game.
Yeah. Based on what we see, I don't think it's going to be a washout. I think it's going to be close, much like the stats indicate here on your screen.
So the FTW, I thought that was forward percentage. It's actually just first tower win rate. All it's literally saying is, did you win the game as you got first turret? I don't necessarily think it's all too valuable, because both these teams are just incredibly successful coming up into this point. Third and fourth place teams, respectively.
Does make a statement, though. Like, first 90% for EDG is still ridiculous.
I mean, they're an early and mid-game type of team. No matter who comes into this organization, they're a team that will always focus towards the bottom side of the map. Allow them to get as much turret plating as possible. You don't expect them picking weak bottom lanes. That's just not the identity for the squad.
Whereas a team like RNG, we'll have a look at the rivalry brewing here.
There it is. Remember now, while I was talking about 2015 summer, the stats you see before you is the team history from 2016.
Yeah.
So it's even worse for EDG because essentially you're just seeing them only really having the 2016 season in their pockets.
And we said there was rivalry here, and further to the point of how teams are shaping up, we can move into the now, Raz, because at the moment, 3rd and 4th place teams, you know, this brews up a little bit more.
But the last thing, it's in Chinese, but it really is like since 2016, the overall games, which is 23 in favor of RNG, 17 in favor of EDG. And we're just talking about 2016 till now, which is always fun and interesting to go through. And another thing as well, as I already said, is that the two players that have been throughout, like together in these teams throughout this rivalry has been Xiaohu and Meiko.
Meiko, yeah.
And Xiaohu for me is always an interesting story because a lot of the times when Western fans outside looking in look towards RNG, they see their mistakes. They see not the championships they've had from numerous events, including Asian games.
Yeah.
They see that one big championship they couldn't attain at Worlds when they lost to Jiejie.
Yeah.
And that was largely because they put Xiaohu on big, beefy tanks.
That's right, he was a Scion mid.
He was a Scion mid, and the only real damage was in that AD carry. It was RNG that went into that tournament really convincing a lot of teams into thinking that it was an AD carry meta.
Yep.
But a lot of teams realized pretty quickly, especially G2, mostly off necessity, that their style really worked for solo lanes. And guess what worked well against that team was a Perks LeBlanc on top of your head.
Yeah, and then it comes down to the now and what Xiaohu's able to achieve in the recent split, that his performance has been growing and growing, and he's playing some of his best.
It's not even the fact that he played poorly at Worlds.
No.
It was essentially that he was chained.
Now he gets his freedom, right?
Exactly. Unchained Xiaohu.
Yeah.
In fact, when Xiaohu came into the league as Angel Beats, the man was a LeBlanc player.
Sure.
He is an assassin player to his core. And I'm not saying have him just only play assassins. I'm saying that have a double threat within your composition so you have an early and mid game bridge. And that's what they've been doing this split. I mean, technically they did that 2018 as well until they got to that tournament, which I'm still, you know, kicking walls because of.
Yeah.
But I hope that they remain with this style coming into playoff time, coming into, you know, if they get into Gauntlet, if that's their trajectory. Of course, they didn't get a lot of points in the spring split. Then I hope they play this kind of style when it really counts, when it matters. Because Xiaohu is an incredibly strong player. And you just have to have, you know, double talent, maybe triple talent, because Langx is also coming in strong with his Aurelia play.
Constantly, and a lot of the time, has been playing weak side of the map well, as I know you've said in the past.
Yes, and so that's what I'm excited about when it comes to this team. I know they're a team that, once again, you got to be confident with the AD carry matchup here. If you're RNG, you put everything into Uzi. If you're in EDG, iBoy, all the way. That you almost forget about the mid laners and how good they are. I didn't even say a damn thing about Scout, and I don't have to.
No.
Scout really just speaks for himself there with how well he's been able to play the last two splits.
Oh yeah, ramp it
Poppin'
up.
music. Yeah.
For good reason.
Louder.
For good reason.
Literally, this is how loud the music is when I go back home.
Yeah.
My headphones are bulletproof, let me tell you. I don't know if you guys are hearing this, but I'm certainly hearing it.
Wake up, anyone. This is a matchup that I've been waiting for, Raz. Reason is because EDG, RNG, I remember sitting at home watching the final and RNG take matchups like the Cogmore, like the explosive games of team fighting that I saw out of these two powerhouses.
Yeah, and so if we're just going to be talking about lanes, you know, is going to start everything going, because a lot of the times our most important matchups that we talk about really come into the game late, like Uzi. A lot of times you go into RNG and a lot of the fans will say Uzi, right? Yeah. That's only later on in the game. Really, it's going to be about Xiaohu and Karsa really early on. That's their early and mid-game bridge, and they are our consistent performers so far this split. You look towards EDG, while the matchup was bottom lane, yeah, it's the bottom lane. It really is. It really is about how iBoy, Meiko, and Jiejie, their jungler, really get the ball rolling, and they essentially never stop. They get as perfect back timing as possible so they can always meet the waves and keep pressuring turret platings pre-14 minutes.
Now this gives me a chance to talk a little bit about Jiejie, because I know everyone out there will understand Karsa, but you might be coming into this matchup as the only match you've seen in the LPL so far, and we need to tell you a little bit about Jiejie because he's an aggressive jungler, he's explosive, but also he's consistent across the board for a rookie that has just joined EDG this split.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see from Jiejie. Continued growth, especially when the spotlight gets brighter and brighter. How you doing? The fans, always packed up. It's getting pretty hot out there, so you can already see this man out there.
He's got the singlet.
With an undershirt, yes.
It's hot.
It's hot out there. That's why you actually ramped up the air conditioning in here.
Yeah, normally in here, don't let me do it, but I've taken over. I had to for this game. And saying, I love RNG.
Yep. It's certainly I love RNG.
I love RNG. I almost said we. But the audience is there to support them, and Uzi in a good mood as always. That's what you got to say about the bottom lane of RNG. Coming in positive at every single window.
Man, I just want to get into the damn game, you know?
Let's do it. There
no
we
more
go.
delays. We saw the first series as it was a quick one. I hope this one lasts for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the game 3.
Stake and heart, let's go. RNG and EDG, our match of the week into pick ban for game 1.
Tom Kench out already. I love this song because remember, you're going up against EDG. Meiko loves himself some semi-global ultimates. And on top of that, if we're just talking about essentially dragging and dropping yourself on side lane 3v1, Langx has already gotten a lot of that.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't want to deal with more.
Already different pick priority from the last series as well. Double support ban, Lux finishing off.
They might be setting themselves up for a Yuumi. Karma's been banned out, Lux and Tom Kench as well. RNG has got themselves a pretty good draft so far to force EDG's hand.
Yep, with one support ban follows another EDG with the Karma. Then, what? 5 seconds to find out the Gragas, which Karsa's picked up in the past.
Let's see what RNG's priority here. It's a great test in time. We haven't seen RNG since like the 28th or something of last month.
Yeah.
It was a long time with the whole Rift Rivals event that came through. We haven't seen them in a little bit. So it's going to be the Olaf priority from RNG. You ask any fan out there in the world, LCK fan, North American fan, they'll spit at you with Karthus. They hate that champion.
Yeah, they do.
But when it comes to, you know, the best jungler in the world, when it comes to, you know, being able to play out the early game as best as possible and essentially setting yourself up around major neutral objectives, great vision control, so that the Ragnarok will be able to run into a champion and you won't be kited out. That's why I love it. But you already see, speaking of kiting out, Wall of Pain is going to force him to ult a little bit of time. So great Karthus pickup from EDG.
Also denies away from Jiejie, because remember that the Olaf has been a strong pick for Jiejie, but so is this Karthus. Jungle matchup secured. 80 carry for iBoy will be the Ezreal, which sits out a safer lane. Let's see what RNG go next.
Karsa's been hovering a lot of MLXG's champions. Could be an ode to him.
Yeah, of course.
Going through a long list of them. But now we're hovering over what's the realistic champion pick here for Uzi. I'm also expecting a support pick in the first phase. You don't want that getting banned out going into the second phase. Remember, right now for RNG, lock it in. There we go. You got your Yuumi. You don't want to go into second phase after banning out 3 supports. I'm going to count the Karma as one as well.
Yep.
And you don't get the first pick in the second phase. And I was surprised that it was not a Yuumi first pick, but they still got it at the end of the day.
Ooh, I like the hovering of the Alistar, though. A champion that in the past Ming has been known for here in the LPL.
Ming and Meiko.
And Meiko. There's a lot of matchups here that could be considered mirror.
So, you're right. A lot of them are incredibly shared. My problem with Alistar versus Yuumi is what we saw when, you know, Chris picked it up in Rift Rivals. He went Alistar into the matchup, and then guess what ended up happening? Absolutely smacked down by King Zones by Lucian and Yuumi. The kite that final chapter provides is very difficult for Alistar to make something out of anything. So I'm a little bit worried for EDG. I think they need a little bit more reliable way to start the fight. That could be a call onto Jinoo.
Well, they've already banned one away from RNG. That's the Cannon and the Aatrox that could have gone up to Jinoo. Now remember, both these top laners are heavy Renekton players, so we'll see if it falls through and who picks it up.
Yeah, with a lot of these top lane picks, remember that EDG still had the first pick of the litter in the second phase. It means that they can go towards the top lane pick immediately and then still hold their mid lane pick as the last 5. So I want to be able to see what their priority is here. I mean, I would be really surprised if they ended up giving last pick to Jinoo, but remember what that would mean. Because then you can, as EDG, pivot and say, hey, we have a Riven player, right? We can give him the last pick and see what matchup's available for him. You know, Jinoo has been a fairly demanding player in his previous teams when he was the superstar of Victory 5 and LGD. I want to see what role he takes in this game.
Could be towards a carry style. That is a Camille straight away. Of course, you've already got the jungle, so heading into one of the solo lanes, which has been flexed here in the LPL.
Camille blind. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. We saw what Nuguri did in Rift Rivals when he picked Klepto Camille into a Renekton that was largely believed to be a better matchup for Renekton.
Yeah.
Mordekaiser's available.
To see it on RNG now, that would be a treat.
A lot of these lanes are great for him. Oh, this is going to be a real interesting one. This is going to be a tough one. It's a classic matchup you look at and say that, yeah, in terms of just shoving potential in longer trades, Rumble does great.
Yep.
But in longer lanes where you can't really control the... Oh, yeah.
Could be going to the mid lane. There's the Mordekaiser locked in.
See, now I don't know where these things are going. That could be a Rumble mid, could be a Rumble top.
True.
We'll find out what happens, but I would expect it to be a Rumble top and the Mordekaiser to be going to Xiaohu.
Okay. Well, if this Azir gets locked in, then it could see a bit of a range advantage for the mid laner of EDG.
At the end of the day, I mean, if we're looking at the full composition of what RNG is giving us, they have great shove on their side lanes. Sivir and Yuumi should be able to have great control like you saw in the last series today. And then on top of that, if we're talking about Rumble or Mordekaiser, whoever gets thrown up top lane versus the Camille, that's the expectation there for RNG, is that they can use their side lanes, push with them. If it's the Rumble mid lane, maybe that adds an extra lane. I haven't seen a Rumble into an Azir.
Yep.
Both of them actually do contest in terms of shove, but Azir should have the early lane trade potential with the Electrocute.
Ability to find inroads, though. Electric Harpoon is going to be a very useful tool against Scout here in this matchup, but 5 seconds to confirm. Ignite is taken by Xiaohu, and we'll assume it's going mid, straight into that Azir, and a new matchup begins.
So this is going to be fun, because you can already see what RNG is doing, and this is why you pick the Olaf. If you're picking Olaf with losing lanes, don't pick Olaf.
Yeah.
Throw something out like literally any other champion is fine. They're an enabling team for their jungler, and they're allowing Olaf to dictate pace, to challenge for Krugs, to set the Karthus behind. And so this is what I need to see out of RNG. It's not a resident sleeper gameplay. For RNG, they want to get the ball rolling quickly, as often as possible. It's EDG that does want to take a step back, farm as much as they can, and try and take some control through mid lane.
We've seen plenty of teams try to take a step back against RNG, but the aggressive nature of someone like Karsa, especially when he's on the Olaf, it's a difficult feat, and it'll show us the level of EDG, whether they're up to that mark coming up in our match of the week.
Yeah, I mean, there's always questions that get thrown towards EDG. Not so much RNG, but EDG's recent success, I mean, it's great and all, but there's always that, problem later on in the road. They would have a great game, followed up with a poor game.
Yeah.
Questionable one. I'm really seeing consistency these days, and going up against RNG is when they play at their best.
It'll be shown in our starting match of the week. There's Xiaohu on something aggressive. The chains are off, Raz. I remember you saying it. The chains are off of Xiaohu. He picks Rumble into the mid lane, and RNG have set themselves up to be explosive here in game one of our match of the week.
I hear the fans, or at least I see them.
I see them.
You see them yelling. But the damn people have muted the people. That's what happens. Never mute the people. Let them speak. I want to hear their words.
Especially going into game one. I'm sure the energy in the Beijing arena is thrilling at the moment. But going in, I want to point out a start here. Now, it feels like seasons of old. Boots, 4-pot start here for Xiaohu.
I love this, actually. We've seen quite a bit of Azir top lane in the recent days. One in North America, Broken Blade picked it up. And you get to see it actually one set in LPL as well.
Yep.
And in some of these matchups, especially the Mordekaiser one, you need that range advantage to be able to pick up on it. So Electrocute is the pickup. Mordekaiser should suffer in this lane very easily. The only range that Mordekaiser will have to combat this will be the E, which is, the fact that he's able to grab you right back in, make it easier, set up ganks as well. So there is a possibility of Karsa being able to find a gank up top lane.
Transitions with the story of the LPL we were telling before, where no mid laner is mid anymore, no top laner is top. More specific with teams, of course. But it's just been happening constantly. So Scout now into the top lane. We'll watch and see how the matchup goes. But Mordekaiser already sent back, pushed back in the lane, while bottom lane, same story. iBoy just down to a quarter health.
Yeah, and this was when I amend my statement because of the lanes that have happened. That I said both side lanes would work out well, but that was the assumption that the Rumble was going top lane.
Yep.
But because it's Mordekaiser versus Azir top, that's changed things where now RNG have to recognize that top lane is going to be shoved in against them. That the harass is going to be coming through on top of Langx. And Karsa is going to have to utilize mid and bot lane rather than, you know, just assuring both side lanes would have push and so he can contest, you know, both sides of the jungle.
That's where he's set up for, to go down, hit the Krugs, and look for an inroad towards that bottom side scuttle. But changing direction here, Karsa will now be going top side, taking the scuttle crab there, and might actually be able to find an option into the top side of the map.
Yeah, it's possible. We saw this happen last time round in the LPL. The fact that he was able to get a gank on top side, get a kill, and honestly, the Azir still took over that matchup. That was the ending result because the lane, the CS advantage was far too great, and you're already currently seeing it. That's 20 CS for the Azir and 12 CS for the Mordekaiser. So you got to hope that Langx is, you know, taking it for what it is and essentially farming well underneath his turret. There we go.
Trying at the very least, yeah.
This is 5 CS missed, and that's good enough, but hopefully it doesn't get worse than that.
If it expands and suddenly needs to be a response here from Karsa, who picks up topside scuttle, is looking for the double scuttle, and of course against the Karthus, easy to find the control healer early.
And there's a reason why he's moving towards the right side of the map rather than the left side, because think of it this way, 4 minutes, 30 seconds is usually when Raptors comes up, when you can play around that one, but he's moving towards the right side because you're only at 50 seconds off until Mountain Dragon comes up.
Yep.
So that's changed the strategy from RNG, so now they're playing a lot more consistently through Uzi and Ming.
As we've known them for in the past. A lot of international viewers here, I know, will be thinking, well, this team is about Uzi, and in the past for sure. Still the most iconic member of the team.
Well, if we're talking about, yeah, of course, it's always going to be about Uzi. But if we're talking about early game, mid game, who gives them the pressure and priority? It's usually Karsa and Xiaohu, but take a look at this.
Yeah, that's the full-on engage. Get the trample as well. Uzi gets healed up and ignited. iBoy takes a very good trade alongside Meiko. Remember, Sustain's still there for EDG's bottom lane, so that gets them out of the turret.
RNG should be fine with Sustain too. Uzi chucking a potion, and on top of that, Yuumi should be able to just heal you back up. But, I mean, the gank's coming down pretty quickly.
Jiejie level 4, full mana bar. Uzi and Ming have hit the go button. And it was in right time as well. So they'll stay in lane, they'll stay safe, and Jiejie forced out from backing.
Yeah, very well played. He was on vision because of the Scuttle Crab. Just maybe. Or they read the pressure of Meiko starting to walk forward.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that was a really risky position for Uzi and Ming. They thought, you know, they could stay in the lane a little bit longer, pressure throughout because they had the sustain advantage. But, you know, Jiejie paid a visit. Also
important that RNG hold control in this bottom lane, considering how we're watching top go. Because if that runs out of control, then Scout's going to be a menace, and EDG constantly have that lane to play through, and they have many more options on the map.
Yeah, you just don't want to see Olaf going even.
Yeah.
That is all the global analysts want, right? Because you can throw in an Olaf into a game. That's fine. But he needs to be able to find an early advantage and start snowballing off of it. The Karthus pick, I think, is great versus Olaf, simply because he can clear as fast as you can, where Olaf usually had the clear advantage versus all junglers.
Yep.
And then on top of that, the DPS is just going to be greater as the game goes on. So we'll have to see what's going on. And remember, the current version of Olaf's go towards warriors, so that just makes you a far earlier focus.
Yeah. But
certainly later on in the game, man, you're going to be taking a lot of damage.
I will say, however, on the point of Karthus, remember, you've got a Camille in the mid lane, so she can match you if you looking to challenge things early and at least set up something in the 2v2. But for now, Mountain, they're secured by Karsa. First Dragon of the game to RNG.
Very, very lucky RNG is. Next one's going to be an Infernal Dragon. Because if they had lost the next dragon, if they had gone towards a Cloud Dragon, an Ocean Dragon, think of it this way. Look at the top lane CS advantage that is there for now Scout.
Yep.
He is etching himself a lead, a greater advantage, and RNG cannot allow the solo lanes to be the primary focus of how the games are going to end. But right now, I mean, RNG could say, great, let's go back 4 minutes later on towards the next dragon. Start finding larger, dragon pickups and force EDG in an uncomfortable position on the bot side of the map.
Doesn't feel like there's a point as well where this bottom lane alleviates so that EDG get better into that comfortable position. At the moment, Uzi hits level 6. The Yuumi, because of the cat picture, I see a level 5. or a 6 as well, but a 10 CS lead down the bottom lane, and they're so comfortable. You look at the vision set up by RNG and why they can push up here this early in the game.
Ooh. Looks like Scout was just trying to make a visit towards the mid lane. Remember, post 6, the Azir ultimate. It's going to get a lot of plays going for him. So that was actually incredibly creative for him. Just very unlucky that Karsa ended up pathing up topside at the same time. So he's just going to be able to... Ooh, actually.
All right, Death Realm is available here for Langx, but ultimate, as we said, the Emperor's Divide there gets the passive, and he's going to start chunking away. So some of the bonus are getting early Merc trades as we look towards the bottom lane, and Uzi going to be engaged on tramples there. Ignite as well. iBoy has the damage, but blocked away by Ming. They flash on top of him. Here it comes. Good night. Sweet Prince, first blood to the Karthus.
Well played from both Meiko and iBoy, but the play is not over just yet. Meiko has to get out of here alive.
The flash on top of Meiko, the Ragnarok. Karsa with first blood himself, or second I should say. Xiaohu coming in, and he burns iBoy to toast. 2 for 1 on the board.
What a perfect equalizer. Because he just threw the ultimate in a position where Ezreal could only walk up and away from the turret. Ended up getting a kill easily there. So great rotation coming in from both Karsa and Xiaohu to make it worth it.
Bottom side action here for RNG, and EDG made an attempt, and to find Uzi here was exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, even though, giving credit towards RNG, who ultimately took the big wing out of it, like this was a great setup from iBoy to allow Karthus to get the kill. He didn't even want to auto-attack it just to assure that Karthus would be able to make it worthwhile. And remember, if Karthus ends up getting the stack on his ultimate, that, I mean, because of his secondary, he gets a lower cooldown off his next ulti.
Yeah.
So, because of the idea, I liked it. But the execution went heavily towards RNG because of the back half of the fight.
The Rumble picking up the second kill. Kill for Xiaohu puts him in a pretty good position in this lane, excuse me. That means Hextech Revolver in inventory, Kindle Gem. A lot of survivability against this Camille, who's already not having any issues with.
Yeah, and the CDR of Kindle Gem really helps with the ultimate. So that's essentially what you need as a Rumble. As long as you can on cooldown for your ulti, it's really almost off too. That's how low it really can get. Rotate with your team after your shove. And the HP that you mentioned makes it harder for Jinoo to really get any substantial leads in the lane off of a trade. So, tough position for the Camille. But if we're trying to weigh these positions and saying, yeah, tough position for Camille, but look at the damn Mordekaiser, right?
Yeah.
Look at how far he's behind in the lane.
I mean, there's expectations we set for the side of EDG, though, holistically, that they would be waiting, they would be trying to quell RNG's early game and get themselves to the point of the Karthus Camille. Pretty much the whole composition they've laid out.
This is a really good timing from RNG, being able to take this turret plating and ultimately the turret you'd expect.
Yeah.
Because you're just 50 seconds off now from Infernal Dragon being the major primary focus. Sure, Karthus is right now on the Rift Herald, but what do you value more? Being able to pick up the turret, the second dragon, especially the Infernal Dragon, and then positioning yourself for the next Rift Herald so you can defend it. Oh, they're looking for a kill.
And
here.
if you can get the fight as well, you take it all. Take it all. Ming takes iBoy.
No respect for the Olaf Yuumi combo. No respect at all.
This combo has shaken heads. And at one point, Meiko and Jiejie have done it as well. So iBoy dropping down a second time this game in the bottom lane. All set up for RNG. They'll pick up the turret, and they're happy again that this Rift Herald is only going to get top now.
I want to see how Mordekaiser plays this one out with the ultimate available. Because if we're thinking dives, it's going to be harder to dive a Mordekaiser.
Yeah.
Not even going to be the intent. In fact, I don't even think they take this turret at all.
Which
yeah,
again,
that sucks.
EDG behind the ball. 2K gold lead here for RNG at 11 minutes in the game, and that Infernal so heavily talking about right there for them, uncontested, and with double elemental this early on, if there's another Infernal amount, you will hate that if you're EDG.
Yeah, I mean, at least Jiejie is up top side to get something out of it. Sure. A lot of people would be wondering with how much the Infernal Dragon was delayed, why they didn't just rotate over. They just don't have any vision. Why take the risk, especially with iBoy falling in the fashion in which he did? There's no damage on that side of the map anyways. Oh no.
iBoy on
no.
Wolves. Oh,
Don't
they're going to steal it. Ming gets it. Equalizer to come down on iBoy. Gets him low. That means he can't re-engage in the fight as Jinoo underneath. Turret takes a bit of a hefty chunk too. Xiaohu hits Protobelt, and he just moves to the play.
This Ezreal is the definition of poverty.
Yeah.
it feels bad. It does. And at this point, it's just not stopping. 12 minutes into the game, and we're taking your inner turret down.
We talked up iBoy, uncharacteristic play from him, but also just speaks to RNG's power in this early game.
We saw two members try and go down that corridor, but there's a Rumble waiting with ultimate available. This is so far, while a great composition for RNG, even better execution to be able to nail it down.
1-0-1 on the Olaf. The Warriors now picked up. I mentioned the Proto Belt before. There's an Essence Reaver here as they look for the mid lane play. The Equalizer not available. They don't need it. They send out the final chapter again. Meiko trying to keep iBoy alive. He's going to die again, Raz. And Meiko now a cow without a pasture. They've cut him up. They send him out. $44 a kilo.
Being iBoy and Meiko is basically being just suffering.
Yes.
You're suffering at all times. And now turret platings that are still up and available, by the way. Not only did they get fully in the bot side of the map, already took 2 turret platings mid. Great play. You're right. Alistar did a great job at initially protecting
But
iBoy.
you can't protect iBoy.
You couldn't. You tried your hardest. But, you know, Yuumi ended up still getting the snare across.
Let's have a look at the buy one, get one free.
Because even though they knocked Xiaohu away, how do you still stop Ming from just detaching from Xiaohu and saying, well, I'm still going to get the ultimate down? Great job there from Ming, who just said, I don't care. I can just leave my host body and still get your AD carry.
And everyone's just sharing in the resources. RNG in a pool of gold right now. 2,000 has become the lead. And every time this happened, Uzi seems to get a core component of his next item. BF Sword now in the inventory.
I mean, at this point, there's going to be non-stop shove in the side of RNG. The only one that's not going to be having a moving part will be Langx, who's, yeah, sure, weak side, but he's playing it well.
Yeah.
On the side of EDG, what damage do they currently have? You could say the Azir, but, I mean, he doesn't have himself much damage outside of the consistent 3 soldiers auto-attacking you that with the electrocute up. I mean, that's just what we're talking about here.
Yep.
That, Karthus, from that point forward, the rest of the members are still needing. Jinoo still needs his Trinity Force. He's going to be getting pushed out. While iBoy needs a lot of things. He has Iceborne Gauntlet and Tier.
Yeah. The tier is for one thing and one thing only. There is a positive step we can take here to look to EDG. 800 gold purely on the Azir, so you're right. We still need time there. He's ahead of the lane, but RNG know this. Now towards the top side, they're going to take the turret that was so widely protected by him.
And so, remember when we got into this game and we talked about where the Azir was going to go? I thought he was going to go mid lane, and I really wanted to see how Azir versus Rumble was going to go.
Yeah.
Because that had some potential points in which it could push mid. And you could use the spine of the map in the mid lane where, you know, Karthus had pressure to be able to move towards the bottom side and help out iBoy, or to come to the top side where you would see Jinoo's Camille would be struggling a little bit. Yep. And you can help out there too. But you put your only pushing and winning lane at the top side of the map away from harm's sake or where the action was. So it's tough from Scout. You're losing out on a lot on the bot side of the map, and there's no real way to really recoup it until now.
It still gets towards that point where Scout matching the Mordekaiser and staying in this lane. It's backed away for now, looking towards the items. No 2 items just yet, so the fact that we haven't seen him in action is one reason why. Still questioning how it'll eventually go, but EDG to get to that point, have to stop the aggression from RNG, which seems to be working for now.
So let's just take a look at the CS leads that are trying to form up, because that's a near 40 CS advantage, now 40 CS in the AD carry position alone. Uzi's, CSing perfectly, while iBoy doesn't get the opportunity to live.
Yeah.
While 20 CS advantage is there from Xiaohu versus Jinoo in the mid lane, that was happening. 10 CS now since Camille has actually picked up a wave. So just through the raw CS alone, RNG had been doing fabulously. The only lane that's been having a bad time is top lane, and he's been, you know, quiet. 0-0 and 0. He's been doing his job. And so that's where. And remember, it's a Mordekaiser too. The sad thing about a Mordekaiser, it doesn't matter how fed or useless he is in team fights, he comes in, he isolates your carry. That's it. Or isolates a tank and says, all right, guys, you can get it to carry.
And I mean, how do you get out of it? You can't. I'm looking at the abilities there.
QSS.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. At the moment, how can you get out of it?
No way.
Yes. So, RNG have so many tools that continue compounding the more we look at it. Right now, Cloud Dragon's going to add to that. That's going to be an easy take when they want to go for it. Karsa going to have to contest with Scout here, who can't get the blue buff.
Get out of here.
Almost dies for his sins. Feels like he will. There's the ult, there's the flash. Easily done. Now that's a definite dragon secured.
My God, one more stack would have been snared too.
Yeah.
So that's what hurts to see. You're right about dragon. The next one's going to be picked up. And even though it's a cloud dragon, it's starting to ramp up. You're getting to a point where Elder Dragon, if it's up and available and RNG picks it up, you're just done. You're KO'd from team fighting.
Yeah.
I think RNG is going to be far better off here.
Just waiting for now to hit that mid wave so they can move to the dragon. But the Olaf goes there by himself. EDG again can't move throughout the river because their vision doesn't extend past their own jungle.
All right, let's see what the next dragon's going to be.
Double cloud.
All right.
Okay.
I'm cool with that. Remember, you have an
it's
Olaf in your team.
Sivir, Olaf.
Perfect. I'm fine with
the
that.
Yuumi, yeah.
There's a lot that works well with the double cloud. And on this one, I mean, even though you're saying double cloud, or at least I'm saying double cloud, at the end of the day,
double cloud.
we're both saying it.
Yep.
Baron buff is going to be the next point of focus anyways.
Okay.
So with how much pressure right now RNG has along all these lanes, I mean, just you need to be putting Rumble, I would say, I know he's bot side right now, but I would like for him to be put up top lane,
Okay.
Sivir up in the mid lane, have both lanes up, shoving up so you can access the enemy red side jungle.
Yep.
Start putting in some deep control wards. That'd be my goal here.
Always nice when Baron's up and look to be contested. The member without teleport is in the lane closest to it. Just a simple fact. Especially since the Rumble, to get towards that second item will be a huge team fighting presence. That's a Leandri's Torment on the way. And
Look at the minimap now, actually. So the minimap now does show that Rumble is going to be going through mid and will be catching top lane waves while Mordekaiser's taking the bot lane waves. So the lane assignment that I was going back to, it's happening now, thankfully.
Yep.
And so finally, already in the red side jungle, RNG already knows before the Baron buff even spawns, they're going deep in for that pressure.
Getting some deep wards down. That's going to be a turret for Scout, though. It's always good news when the team like EDG can find some of that gold back and onto the member that's so far there. He's about 1,500 gold ahead of the Mordekaiser. So continues to compound, moving away from the bottom lane. Going to back away, and even with teleport available, can start thinking about that Baron in 15 seconds. Go, Langx. Get him.
Woo! Close.
Curious about the 1v1. Even in the Death Realm, with the extra stats, I think Langx could do it.
Yeah, Langx would be able to, I believe. It would be close, but no mana.
Now we're going to find out. There's the ulti pulled back in. That stays in the Death Realm.
Run from
the
me.
turret as well joins him. That's another cleaver down. Let's go again. Whack him and Raz. When I was right, I was right. Langx solo kills Scout.
Welcome back to the game, Langx. Just like that, the only losing matchup has now just propelled himself back in with the ultimate.
Now EDG, count your cards because we're going once again. The bop away, but Xiaohu overheats. RNG collapsing on the side of EDG. Jiejie in a bad position. Great equalizer as the final chapter sits him in the mud. And he sinks into it with fire corrupting the realm of death from the Karthus. But Langx brought his own. That's the ult to get the kill as a response. But EDG relying on Jinoo as Langx dodges away from the poke.
They lost out quite a bit on the top side, though. Uzi and Ming are down, so any prospects of going towards Baron is going to be stalled out. That was a good start from RNG. It really was, and they still ended up getting, the overall kill advantage, you'd say. But, ended up losing out on that one. I think iBoy played that one out pretty well.
Yeah. Picks up the Manamune as well, so he's got the 2 items. I want to give him a lot of safety. Also notice that Jinoo has the Trinity Force and had it for the fight. So the Camille with that first item, and it's big impact there, especially in a team that doesn't have as many escapes.
Yeah. Well, same lane assignments. Here was the problem, though. We're going to go right back to the same lane assignments. Same situation is going to be thrown at you. You look at the Rumble ultimate and it's almost up, right? These are the problems that you're facing right now if you're going up against RNG. They need to be able to, be able to combat that, fight back on that one. Karthus ultimate is something that you really require to be able to at least compete in these fights.
So we look at the items, we look at the comparison for Jiejie and how far along he is. Morel and Omicron not quite there just yet, so for Jiejie, the threat doesn't exist, and EDG losing their mid lane turret.
You know, it'd be fun.
What?
Langx sending Karthus into the death realm before the fight even begins.
Yeah. Remember, if he ults in there, it will not hit damage on the outside. Jiejie dies immediately. And that's kind of like a death realm.
Yeah, I guess he is already over there. Welcome. That was fast.
I mean, Karsa with Yuumi on him. This is the power that we've talked about in many games before. The Olaf combo is amazing.
Yes, not only in the level 1s, but at this stage in the game. And get the hell out of there, Jinoo.
Jinoo's going to find a new combo. That's the Hextech automated down. It's blocked by Uzi. 6 spell shield. He deserves that kill.
That was beautiful. And guess what? I mean, it started out with, like, where the hell was Jinoo going to begin with? And then it ends with the, that was beautiful.
I thought Langx used a death realm on him. That's why we couldn't see him. But Uzi gets all the credit for that one. And now onto the Baron buff. The death grasp in. Langx on zoning duty while RNG diffuse the situation. Take the pick and get the Baron.
I mean, EDG are just outright getting outplayed.
Yes.
They're losing in multiple fronts. And even when iBoy was playing well in the last team fight, just what Jinoo was doing, for whatever reason, expecting that hooking straight into the bush, that wouldn't be warded, that they wouldn't be able to see that. And then he didn't have an exit strategy out of there.
Yeah.
And though I don't even think he was looking to get the kill on Uzi, he just wanted an exit strategy, close the gap to Uzi and find the way out of there.
Whatever he can get. Yeah.
Then he got spell shielded.
Been a game of rough itches. Let's call it what it is. Game of meters, it feels like.
All right.
iBoy. Yeah, this time he got it. That's okay. But remember, RNG got the Baron in that last play, and they can now siege mid with Jinoo looking for the flank.
Yeah, he's going to have to go for something. We always talk about drawing the line in the sand. This one is still, like, EDG is still in the game, farming quite well, and Azir is doing well regardless of the kill count.
Yep.
CS-wise, 230 CS, 24 minutes into the game is perfect.
Yep. Like a recovery effort. We talked about iBoy though.
What?
Can't be near the turret. That's not what you want to do, EDG. Absolutely flippity-floppity away from that one.
What was that?
There's a question mark all around. And RNG now given an inhibitor for sure.
I hope my eyes are not playing tricks on me. The fact that he E'd forward? Is that what he did? Yes, he did. All right, iBoy, that was unfortunate. I know there's a lot of pressure on him in this game, but that's something that's just like you cannot do.
Like I said, free inhibitor because of it, and the way this game is going, I was excited to talk about the prospects of late game EDG, but now that they've lost so much in a short period of time, that's going out the window. And EDG behind 8,000 gold with a big Baron push from RNG.
Look, that reminds me of the 2018 spring. The fact that a lot of pressure hits you very quickly, and even the greatest players are made to look like fools.
Yeah.
When you see points like that, where you know you don't want to check back at like ProView, you don't want to check back at what his button presses were, because you know what happened. It was just, you know, mind lapse.
It's a mistake. I mean, iBoy's been bullied this whole game. And it gets to you. You know, as a player who we hyped up coming into this, who we said that for EDG, they like to throw their resources down there. We know EDG thrive off this AD carry. When he gets hit this hard, this early on, it's testing.
All right, well, here we go. I mean, so far at this stage of the game, RNG has been playing really well around Karsa. If we're talking about MVPs, if the game were to end right now, I would give it to Karsa.
Yep.
He's been playing incredibly well alongside Ming.
As expected, right? We hyped up the jungle matchup too.
Exactly. The composition was worked really well for RNG, and Langx taking a lot of pressure too. It's a team game at the end of the day, and here we go, another pick on the
Jiejie. Jiejie almost gets pulled back into Boomerang Blade, comes up, that equalizer, lays down the carpet for the cow. How well do you want it? Well, medium rare apparently, Xiaohu says as he dies. That's a 4 versus 5, but RNG go on.
Yeah, still working alongside Baron, double cannon up. Lost it up, so they might want to retreat here.
Jinoo coming in for the flank now. He's been spotted out by minions, so RNG disappear, but minions crashing in. RNG can lose a member like that and be safe, but
please don't.
But the more that happens, yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, don't do that. Like, there's no reason for Xiaohu to be dying in that situation.
Sure.
Like, I like the flank position with his ultimate, but he overcommitted, and that's the name of the game. That's like literally what happened. So they could have went a lot further. That actually could have been the end with you know, bot and mid lane super minions essentially knocking on death's door.
But now we go on.
But this is the problem. If you have more of these, then EDG's back. And that's the conversation you can't be having. So him walking up with Q, please don't.
Especially when RNG, as he goes in, just disappears.
Yeah.
And they just leave the place. So miscommunication here from Xiaohu, and RNG let's see where this goes from here, because there's another Baron coming up in a minute 30. There's another Mountain. They still have control of the map, and like you said, it's going to require more of those plays, but for EDG pulling back, they still have one inhibitor up.
Well, I mean, for EDG, it's going to require a lot to come back. Let's just say if 3 more Xiaohus essentially run up to them like that, then that's great.
Okay.
But, of course, Meiko flashing out of this one. Good flash.
EDG looking to end the game before that even happens. So Meiko disappearing. That's the final chapter used. As on the hunt as well, Pop. They use the movement speed and are heading towards the top side.
You have 2 inhibitors down. All you have to do is play this one out patiently. Jinoo's coming in at a great flank, but is already seen.
Karsa just running at him. That'll be the way.
Really, the problem here is Jinoo's on a timer. What can you do when really they're just working with the super minions that are being thrown at you?
Langx sitting in the mid lane as well. He's bullying out Jinoo, just trying to get the advantage. And
they should go on this wave. This is the wave that they should work alongside with the super minions, so the bot side of the map starting to come in.
Well, that's equalizer down onto Jiejie, but look at the minions, or rather the soldiers from Scout. This is the issue. Scout is still in a very good position, and they'll be able to defend.
Yeah, the Azir is still doing quite a bit in terms of wave clear, but Baron's up, and because EDG's been walled into their base for so long, there is no vision whatsoever. So, in fact, RNG saying, we'll take the Mountain Dragon first, and then we'll head over.
They forgot what outside looks like. You know? Outside of the wall, they finally breach. Once more, RNG onto the Dragon. And now back over to Baron. Look at where EDG are, trying to get some vision out there. Not 100% sure, but being able to get some wards onto Baron, that'll stop sometime. I mean, 30 seconds.
So that's double Mountain and Dragon. That's the reason why RNG picked it up, so they can take the Dragon as fast as possible. I still think they had a great speed on Dragon. I mean, what Baron?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Just thought it was a misplay. It's all right.
They do need to contest for mid lane shove, though.
Yep.
So they can move towards Baron buff and play around with double Mountain. Look at the super minions. They're still piling up. EDG has to do something now.
EDG like, screw it, let's go to the Baron.
All right, let's see what EDG can do.
Jinoo has hook shot, wall shot. Jiejie's there. I mean, he needs to walk in. He needs to make a decision. He needs to do it now.
Langx is just going to send you to the death realm if you even try to flash over the pit this much.
The pain of Mordekaiser shown right there.
There's no way to come in. You're gonna, maybe you find yourself in a pit.
Yep.
But no one's else going to be there. And your screen's going to be mighty gray.
You will not see the Baron either. So Baron secured there by RNG. Second time in this game. And now they have all the tools. Good news, though, for EDG. They have the inhibitors up, but for how long that stands is a question.
Now if you take a look at Uzi's item build, essentially full build with the stopwatch being eventually going into his GA.
I like the maul there, especially against Azir.
Yep, definitely needs to be able to deal with that when the Karthus ultimate comes through.
Oh, also that, yep.
A lot of damage coming in the side of EDG. That's AP variety. It is going to be an AD Ezreal. He was forced to do that before the game even began with how much AP was coming through with the composition. But I mean, technically he has no damage at this stage.
Yep.
Technically he's neither AD nor AP with how much he's tickling.
He did hit Uzi for something, but that's Uzi, and he's pretty much the only person who's going to take that full damage. So out the window, EDG now finding himself, but look at Jinoo. If he can find anything, it's a big if.
We'll see. There are 4 people all grouped up, so even if Jinoo finds the fight, that should still be in favor of RNG.
Hasn't been spotted out, coming in for the flank. Hook shot, wall shot onto Uzi. Can't spell shield this one. They jump on him, but he heals up. The Zoomies, the Equalizer, the Carpet, the Viking. Double kill as RNG burn them to a crisp. Langx says it's fun in the Death Realm. No one's invited except you.
See, 4v5, RNG still wins, but you had to take that risk if you're EDG with how poorly this game's been going.
Now one turret stands in their way. And that's going to be all she wrote. Karsa not up to enjoy the victory, but he'll be sitting in his chair looking mighty fine on this one. RNG get on top of this series before it's even begun. A 1-0 to lead them into Game 2.
What a dominating fashion. Like, they just slammed EDG in the early portions of the lane, and a lot of it came back to the whole conversation of Xiaohu and predominantly Karsa. Karsa was doing a lot of work, being able to, farm up as you'd usually expect, found a great amount of picks. Karthus didn't really even find a headway into the game, And then you saw the constant picks through vision control with the Olaf, Yuumi combo and an ultimate.
See that out of RNG puts a lot of hope on their back that going forward they're going to perform this well. Another clean game tonight.
And see how drastic the conversation can be globally around Olaf. Because in that right hands, you know, you could put in a lot of work. And that was essentially what it was. To be fair, a lot of people will look at this and say it was a tool of Yuumi's ultimate. You see Nocturne, you send them in with the Yuumi ultimate, and you get a great engage. And a lot of the times, they found that target.
Yeah.
The target was iBoy. Every lane he went, he tried to escape it, went mid lane to be able to clear the wave, and guess who he found? 2 times, actually.
Yeah.
Yuumi and Olaf.
Oh, iBoy did not get a break that game.
Yeah.
And then we're left with, you know, the one element of EDG that, you know, was able to take some control and was scalped, but unable to get to that point where he could transition with the rest of EDG.
Yeah, and so that's where the pain point really was for me with EDG. The fact that their primary member that had a lead had no way of being able to impact the game. Because his lane assignment was to be able to match the worst player in the enemy team.
To sit in a lane with, right?
Exactly, right. Well, in the sense that, yeah, because he got 1v1 by the Mordekaiser, 100% he had a long lane to deal with.
Yeah.
But more so, the person who received the least amount of golden pressure in the Mordekaiser was going up against the person with the most resources, the person who was succeeding the most. So that made it so much easier for RNG to say, okay, we'll just group up as 4, and essentially we'll always win these 4v4s. If they even become that, because Karthus was too slow to be able to get involved with some of the fights anyways. So, great added tempo, a very quick game coming in with RNG, and not a lot of time for EDG to respond.
I'm glad that we got to see the best of Karsa straight off the back of this one as well. Game 1, what did we say? We said, you know, the jungle matchup is great because Karsa, as you stated, best jungler in the world. Yeah, I'm just making sure. This is a good statement, and I agree.
Yep.
You know, sometimes I get scared, but I'd be happy to agree with that one all the damn way.
Well, ultimately, those kind of conversations, whenever it comes to a global perspective, they need to make the goddamn international events, and they missed out on a few already. I just think that Karsa has been able to prove that on a very consistent level. But at the end of the day, it was a team game that allowed him to thrive.
Yeah.
Multiple pushing lanes to allow him to invade, and vision control to find those picks on the members that we were referring to. So I wouldn't be unhappy if the MVP went on to Uzi, especially Ming. I think Ming performed exceptionally these games, and Yuumi's don't usually get the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of button presses happening. The APM is at an all-time low if you play that champion. But I would send my vote towards Karsa.
That's very fair. A great game 1. A great opening here for RNG. See if match of the week develops going into game 2 right after this.
中单维鲁斯或者说这种破克雷维鲁斯最强势的地方。末日跳大闪现恐惧差一点。
是两边辅助对焦闪现，但这波峡谷先锋已经拿到了，而且撤退的位置是有剑魔过来帮忙保。但死哥这个大招压一下 BOG 的血量后，后续效果不是特别的好呀。这波后续还想要进场吗？但是牙膏远方是先把国豪给收掉以后，库洛赶过来正在戳弗莱斯血量感觉扛不住，回身知道要死在一个位置来反逼，库洛的一个闪现，另外一边在蓝 buff 区域重视直接击杀掉了 A 的。
虚空锁定命中，这个大又瞎推了。现在没了刀妹，谁去切硬图呢？对 BLG 来讲，
是的，重的大招是已经好了，这是我们
家里要有潮闪，这个潮闪有可能将决定比赛的胜负。
统治炸到的是库洛，但是这波还是在 A
要先打，
双 A
冲进来想先秒一个库洛，这个位置直接被带走了，而且新魔他抬空了 ，W 再带走新魔，这边可能要崩了。
崩了，这波沙皇直接将 Q 技能配合沙兵过去，牙膏用一个金身金角，这波没办法
结束了，
最后是被牙膏站起来以后打死，而国豪这个位置一样是被重给弹死。
塞拉斯，我们小地图上也看到啊，火鸡过来的往下路走。
是的，
要看兵线的一个推进情况。
推的比较慢，但这个兵 A 完兵线也就进去了。看一下这波是要动的，
猫咪先行给大去定 Missy 一丝血转火到了 Mystic 身上 ，Mystic 先行阵亡 ，Missy 自己身上有个余震，还有一个护盾，暂时没有死。齐安娜赶到战场，嘎啦飞到了人群当中，被泰坦一钩子定住，再拿一个人头。
但，哎，这边1Q2连是挑起了这边，
哦呦！但是诸神黄昏的奥拉夫闪现规避下位置，再一个斧头，一波单杀吃掉了皇子，自己回血死不了，拿到一波 double kill。但是你看，关于河道视野的争夺 ，Dominus 明显他处于一个更加主动的一个位置。
是的，但这个时候 Dominus 也有机会吧？我们看一下怎么
想去
打。
开悲伤已经被开到了卡莎，突到他面前，西叶看一下，瞄准了嘎啦，被一个圣长击里直接洗死了。两边 C 位直接来了波互换，剑魔这个时候大妹已经抓进了，他瞄准的看向是下方的一个前排，两边先保一下自己后排的就是说西叶倒在了地上，剑魔砍起来，电魔先往后拉扯一下 ，Mystic 还在不停的拉扯，现在但是正面只剩下一个 Mystic，House 已经扛不住了，蓝死亡4个人直指 Mystic 滑步走掉，被灰心看了一下，再次一个 Q 可能，虽然说没 Q 起来，堵在塔下，奥拉夫将其打出团灭。